So we talk about between group design, saying each of this participant will only do one condition and then they leave. Okay, so they don't do multiple of them. So that means we need more people probably doing the testing. The advantage of this between group design is clear, better control of the learning effect because if the design have the same goal, then you learn A, then you influence the understand of B and C. So it's requires short time for participants. So they do one condition and they leave, and you know um, less stress. And disadvantage um, is could be different individuals, and they have a much more background knowledge. So the individual is different. Okay, so if the group A is doing a much more knowledgeable on something, then you couldn't see the difference. So hard to detect the difference between the conditions and require large sample size, large participant size. So the investigation um, on the independent variable could have another design, which is called within group design. Within the group design is also called within subject design. So basically, you use less participants, but they do multiple testing. So what the advantage of that is require the less people participate in the testing, and the easy to determine the difference between the conditions because all of them do all um, they do all three of them. The disadvantage is if you, like I said, if you have a goal, design one, A, B, and C all have one goal, then after they done A, they know what to looking for B and C. And it take a longer time for one group of people, less participant, they got more stressful, and it can last from morning to the evening, and then the tiredness may get impacted too. So when you use between group design, if it's a simple task and it's not too much impact for the learning effect, they can know, or they already know all of them. And then within the group design is just impossible, then you use between group design. And one you should take within the group design is only very small participant can participate, and also knowing this particular condition is not going to impact results so much or the study so much. More than one independent variable, so factual designs divided experimental groups and conditions into multiple subset conditions, two independent variable, and can examine the interaction effect. The number of conditions can be calculated with these formulas. And more detailed explanation is in the book. And three options for factorial factorial design is between, within, and split plot design. Okay. The interaction effect. So the different user group like naive user, right? The interaction means, okay, what kind of device you use for naive user. Um, the touch screen probably better. So if you are really testing design, not testing the user, the interaction part, then probably use a touch screen because it's easier for you're just looking for the logic of the design rather than the interaction. So touch screen may be a better choice. Like even in when I'm instructing my daughter to submit her work because you have to take a picture, things like that. You have to draw or write numbers on the screen with the mouse. I said, well, don't use your mouse. You go ahead and use your iPad because it's more easier. Um, so reliability of the experimental. So there is a two type of error. One is random error called chance or noise and cause variations between the direction in both directions. And it could be that random error, suddenly happens by chance. It's not the systematic error. Um, Systematic error is more bias. It's confusing and always push actual value to the same direction. Um, so random error, you can do a large sample size and then that error can be ignored. So systematic error, then you cannot really offset it no matter how large the sample is. So everybody have the same. Reliability of the experimental result. Um, so 5 different major source of system error, which is we more concerned. Sorry. Measurement instrument. So what do you use for instrument? For example, you are using interview and the question you ask may have some indications that it's not neutral. So that could be a problem. Experimental procedures, you may not doing randomized study, and also participants and the behavior, the environment. The research process actually, which again is kind of give us a review of how we're going to form a research problem, find the interest, and define what the research question is, defining your project at the same time, conceptual the research design, and then creating instrument to measure uh, your research. If you're doing experimental research, then it's very independent variable and um, dependent variable what the hypothesis is, and what's the instrument, how you randomize, sampling, and how you collecting data, um, and writing proposals for the research part, and at the same time define the project, and then collecting data and process data and writing the final report, which this is a capstone part. So life cycle of an experiment. First, you identify the hypothesis and specify the design of the study, and then run the pilot test to testing the design of the research system and the study instrument, what are you going to collect data, and recruiting the participant, run the actual data collection, analysis data, and report the result. So experimental sessions procedure first, when you start, and then you prepare everything and grading to the participant why we're going to do this study in HCM. Most of the time, we say thank you for participating. We're testing the design. We're not testing you in any way. So we're trying to help our design to be better. Get consent, video tape, and audio recording. Um, Consent and assign the participant in different condition, and it could have a training task and then you testing the real task, and answer the questionnaire and debrief sessions, and if you're paying the participant, then that's the part. Okay, so next 5 minutes I'm going to quickly talk about project planning and management in overview. The project planning and management is focused on planning and organize project and its resource. The project management include identify and managing the life cycle to be used. What's the timeline? What's the budget concern? Although in our class we're going to put a number there, how long it would take and what's the hour rate, all of that could be there, but we're not going to have any budget calculation really. Um, Nobody pay us. We're not paying anybody probably, um, except maybe user testing part. Call cooperating project timelines with user-centered designs, formulating project teams, efficient guidelines throughout all the phases throughout the until the capstone finish. So when you define the projects in this class, you need to consider is all the way to the 16 weeks, which the end of the what early December, let's say December 1st. Okay, so you're going to have a timeline for 16 weeks instead of 8. So what is project? Project have a timeline, so it have a deadline. So that's why we said it's a temporary endeavor undertaking to create a unique product, service, or result. It's a one-time undertaking and with the defined goals and interrelated dependencies, activity, task in the period of time. So there is deadlines. So what is, if you get a project, um, paying bills is not, billing process is not a project because that's ongoing process. Project does have a start and end and have a group of people involved in it, have clear goals and different stakeholders. But each project is based on the constraints um, that it does include four things: scope, quality, time, and cost. So scope. So scope include all the things involved, all the things we're going to create for this project. What is deliverable? What's the outcome? And then the second timeline is a way of displaying a list of the events based on time and who is going to be. You're probably going to have the role chart, and which is going to probably yourself. And the budget analysis, just analysis really. We're not going to really paying or being paid. So this is a reference, and this is the end of the lecture. So I hope you guys enjoyed the listening to the lecture for this week. And please go ahead, do your homework. You have a discussion, and you also have assignments. Um, Feel free to post uh, all kinds of information related to research method and project management topics, whatever you run across, you think is worth for the fellow classmate to learn. Feel free to post there. We're going to all learn together. All right. Y'all have a good day. Bye bye.